Shooby boo. How do I do this? There we go. Yes. Okay. So we made it into the podcast, which is happening now.
Here we are. Oh, you already.
Now is when the podcast
Now
happens.
now is when podcast.
Yes.
Now is dark and full of mysteries. And
Now is 34 minutes past midnight, which the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists are freaking the fuck out about. I mean,
Oh, that's not
Sweet
good.
girl.
That's not good. You
Sweet
don't want to be
girl.
in that situation.
Sweet girl. That's so fucking funny. One of the things you may not know, listeners, is that Nova continuously takes one for the team vis-a-vis recording
this is
schedules.
true.
Yeah.
It's fine. I like hanging out with my friends. And tomorrow I get to get on a train and go hang out with my wife. So it's all good.
Ooh, fun.
Exciting.
Tomorrow I might get my fridge working again, or I'll find out some catastrophic news and I'll have to redo my kitchen.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bracing for a bunch of comments that are like alternately, you're married, or I thought you were already married. And it's like, listen, there's nuance going on here. I don't need to explain to you right now.
Yeah, certain things are
Subtleties.
none of your goddamn business.
Exactly.
More importantly, though,
There's polyamory happening. Leave me alone.
to leapfrog Nova, I'm married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my wife is just like, oh shit, you have to record. Like, I'm so sorry. And fled the Wawa at like 95 miles an hour. We did not rob the Wawa. I feel like I should preface it with that.
Listen, every couple wants to feel a little bit like Bonnie and Clyde sometimes.
Yeah.
Or Thelma and Louise, depending on gender.
Absolutely.
There have been a bunch of flyers going up in my neighborhood for polycule group therapy.
Get out of the polycule.
The
Just
ones,
get
the
out
ones
of the
with,
polycule.
the ones with like
Your
the little
rent's
the
going
tabs the ones with the little tabs that you can take off, And a bunch of them were gone the first time I saw the flyer, and I was like, well, yeah, that's West Philly for you.
Rent going up.
A lot of people with alternative lifestyles out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I am the straightest person within like
You might be
probably
the only
half a
straight
mile.
white guy in West Philly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember that stupid meme of the like one Russian riot cop like covered in blood, surrounded by people? That's like the last straight man in Europe. That's you in like West Philadelphia.
It's true. It's true.
That's completely true. When we lived together, we were basically a clan meeting. How far, relative.
Wow, that's almost as bad as the bonus episode. Anyway, I'm not making that into a running joke.
No, please do not.
Let's not
The bonus
do that.
episode that gets us both cancelled.
Yeah. So, welcome to There's Your Problem. It's a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. I'm Justin Rosniak. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him. Okay, go.
I'm November Kelly. I'm the person who's talking now. My pronouns are she and her. Yay, Liam.
Yay, Liam. Hi, I'm Liam McAnderson. My pronouns are he and him. And it's, whoops, all news too, because you people wouldn't stop asking for it.
Yeah, the thing is, we try to record these in advance, and then there's a real problem when someone like takes a shot at the former president or whatever, and all of you have to wait 2 weeks or more for us to do our little jokes about it.
Well, it's amazing that they shot Trump and then Biden died.
both
Joe
presidential
Biden from beyond
candidates
the grave.
have been killed and now replaced.
Yeah, I was worried. I was worried about recording so many episodes so close together we'd run out of news, and then turned out as our good friend good old Vladdy Lenin said, there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. We're in one of those weeks.
Feels
Absolutely.
like we've been in one of those weeks for like 8 years.
Yeah, so we're playing catch up a bit, and we're doing this not for the first time, where we just do an episode that's all news. Aren't you lucky?
Yeah. Some people like this. I bet some of you hate it too. Those are the more rational people, I think.
I think this is the thing, right? Anything we do, any business decision we make is met with a roughly even split, and everyone on both sides of it is furious. And this, as a very anxious person, right, has led me to a kind of paralysis, right? Like the best example of this is when we had Devon like put in and then take out the noise that indicates a Devon comment. And that was straight down the middle. It was like a presidential election. It was 49-51, and it switched back and forth.
everyone insane. Everyone went completely insane about that.
There's no right answer, and as someone who likes trying to please everyone, God only knows why I chose a life as a trans woman. This is
rookie mistake.
Yeah. I'm on the cycle of samsara, like hoping for something easy to come up, and it hits trans woman again, and I'm like, fuck.
I mean, you know, this is going to be an issue that we only will really have to deal with when we eventually get acquired by private equity.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to.
When we sell out, yeah.
Oh, we're selling out. Yeah, Spotify, hit that phone.
BlackRock presents. Well, there's your problem.
Becoming like a Spotify exclusive. Yeah.
Look, if Meghan Markle and Prince Harry can rip off Spotify for $100 million, there's no reason we can't do it.
Meghan and Harry kind of queered the pitch for us, right? Them and like the economy or whatever. Because it turns out, even if we wanted to sell out, and even if someone thought we were good enough that we would buy us out, they don't really do that anymore. Like Spotify don't really just throw money at you anymore, partly because they don't have infinite money, and partly because they got burned by giving like $300 million a second to Harry and Meghan in exchange for 2 episodes about mindfulness.
There was like a guy in the emails offering to buy us out a while back, and it was like for 3 months revenue. It was a crypto thing. Yeah. It's like, no, I need more money than that.
Yeah. Like,
especially since I don't have real skills anymore.
No.
This is real skills,
can you explain this period on your CV? No, not really.
No.
Okay, so
that's
there's
confidential
a podcast,
information.
Right? There's a podcast, right? Yeah. So it's called Well, There's Your Problem.
It says here you took 4 years off to talk into microphone.
And I was damn good at it too.
Yeah. I liked it. I was good at it.
Yeah. So now, before we talk about the goddamn news, we have to talk about the goddamn news. Jarring shift in tone.
I cut that off way too early. You got like a second and a half of news.
Oh, excuse me.
Whoa, Jesus, that was incredible. Yeah. It's like a hippo in a nature documentary. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I didn't hear that.
It was like a sort of roiling bubble. It was great.
Yeah, Wawa bowl and Coke burps. I had to go to the periodontist today. Oof. And got mouth stuff done. And I can't chew with my front teeth at the moment.
You can't call it mouth stuff.
But,
yeah, no, I mean, I'm right there with you. I had smash burger for dinner, which is a bold choice to get the loaded fries and stuff when you're a person of gastric disposition and you have a 6-hour train ride.
Don't you have a train tomorrow?
Today,
really?
There's some things that are going to go down in an Avanti West Coast train bathroom that I'm not going to be proud of.
Well,
we made it 8 minutes before we started talking about poops.
Yeah. So we had a quite nasty bicycle accident here in Philly last Friday.
We had a murder. We had a fucking
it was
murder.
Basically a murder. Yeah, Dr.
Oof.
Barbara Freeds, who was 30 years old and a pediatric oncologist, was riding her bike on Spruce Street. Well, this is last Thursday, right? And so, riding in the bicycle lane with a helmet, doing everything right, comes up to a light, and then some guy, in the traffic lane next to her, there's only one traffic lane on the street, decides, I'm not going to wait for the light to change. I'm going to go around 3 cars at 50 miles an hour, and just ran her over, and then, threw her 150 feet through the air, and then he crashed into 2 parked cars.
Yep.
This guy, Michael Vahi.
Vahi.
I don't know.
Vahi.
69 years old. Blood alcohol concentration of 0.16.
Double the legal limit in Pennsylvania.
Yes. So, it managed to accelerate to 50 miles an hour in a 25 mile per hour zone. I mean, this is sort of brought to light, just the insufficiencies of the bicycle infrastructure in Philly. And this is something that was entirely preventable if there was anything other than paint protecting the bike lane, paint and flex posts, which, as we had Alfred Twu on a while back ago to talk about the student housing cube. They refer to those as car ticklers because that's about all they do.
Yeah, we need to we need to install sentry posts with guns on them to protect the cyclists.
Pretty much.
Every border implies the violence of its maintenance, but with like bike lanes, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, exactly. And this has been, at very least, because this is such an egregious example. There seems to have been recently a bit more of a unified push from everyone to say, look, we need to finally protect these bike lanes. The problem is we have Mayor Sherelle Parker, who was elected on a platform and whose staff are,
evil.
sort of somewhere between apathetic and actively contemptuous of anyone on a bicycle.
These are the same people who did the Kensington encampment clear out and affected where I work, and now people come in for all sorts of services we're unable to offer, and the city basically tells us to go fuck ourselves. So that's rad.
Yeah, Parker is like
pure evil. I fucking hate her, dude.
Very bad. Yeah, I mean, just extremely like
malevolent,
aloof, just like not. I mean, because she did the communications blackout. She forced everyone to go back to work in the office in the city, even though they didn't have offices for them. She's going to ram through the Sixers arena, and she's going to do absolutely nothing about this except, some platitudes. And then, of course, council person for this area is Kenyatta Johnson. And he is also an active bicycle lane denier. He is committed to ensuring that everyone can park on every surface all over the city, walls, ceilings, sidewalks.
Every part of his Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's this is an uphill battle, I guess, is what I'm saying. To get any kind of real justice here. I believe Larry Krasner's office just released a statement today, or at a press conference today, saying they are pursuing criminal charges. The problem is, we can lock this guy up and throw away the key. It won't prevent this from happening again.
Correct.
Yeah, and I mean, how, just on a sort of like ice cold level, how long does it take to train a pediatric oncologist?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's I have a hunch. It takes more money and time to train a pediatric oncologist than it is to, wheel in some Jersey barriers.
Might actually take less money and time to train a pediatric oncologist than it takes to like incarcerate a guy for the rest of his life, though.
Yeah,
this is true. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to go to jail for life. I think he's going to get like a relatively standard, DUI slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is I mean, this one hit close to home because I use this intersection fairly frequently. As a cyclist,
you've nearly been killed here numerous times.
No, this one always struck me as one of the safer ones. That's the thing.
Okay.
Because you don't expect someone to just do that. I mean, if you look at this road, it's like you've got the bike lane. Here's B. Then you have the buffer. That's also B.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the travel lane, which is here. And then there's a parking lane. And this is probably end to end about 25 feet.
Right.
So the fact that anyone is able to drive 50 miles an hour down this goes to show that A, people are incredibly reckless, and B, there's just insufficient infrastructure here to stop people from doing something incredibly stupid.
Insane shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Philadelphia is a policy failure.
It's a residential neighborhood. This is not like a big road. This is a tiny, tiny road.
And to be clear, this is kind of like the opposite of news in the sense that this happens every day in every city.
This happens pretty frequently. This one just happened to be particularly egregious. And I hope someone does something about it. But again, we have an administration in the city which is,
contemptuous of people who live here.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they consider anyone who hasn't, lived here for 50 years and is also very conservative to not be a real Philadelphian. This whole city is governed like it's 1970.
Yeah.
And it's in terminal decline. It's really frustrating and stupid.
Like separate your, I didn't say grade separated, which is not a horrible idea, you know.
Yeah, I mean, doing that grade separating cyclist would require demolishing and rebuilding the city, which is what we're trying to avoid. We tried that in the 60s. It didn't work that well.
It didn't work, yeah. Yeah. Say her name again? I can't remember her name. I don't have the
Barbara Freeds.
Yeah, and she deserved a lot better than she got.
Exactly.
Fuck you, Sherelle Parker, whose fault this is.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I still don't understand why anyone voted for her. Other than I guess
didn't.
probably some fucking like you probably got the support of the right pastors, and then they delivered the congregation. I mean, that's what really how the politics works.
Philly, yeah, and that is genuinely true.
Yeah,
I love a sort of a moderate theocracy.
Exactly.
Such that it is. All right, what we got next?
Yeah, so that was infuriating. In other news,
I mean, we did it. It's Brat Summer.
It is. It's Brad. It's Kamala Harris Summer, who is Brad. Thereby making it Brad Summer.
Yeah. And I mean, God. Okay. I just, as much as I think it's reasonable to be relieved on a couple of levels. Firstly, that I think she's a lot more likely to like beat Trump than Biden's dead ass corpse was.
I agree with that.
And she might be both like in terms of policy a little bit better and personally less like odious to the point that you feel less uncomfortable voting for her. Again, I'm not going to condescend to anyone who's like, I want no part of the whole charade, right? But like,
yeah. I mean, I feel a little bit more comfortable going to the polls for Kamala than Biden, but like they have 4 months to change that.
Yeah, and have already started on that, you know, which we'll get to.
That gruesome press release about
and if you remember anything about like Kamala's time as a prosecutor in California, you'll know that it was. I mean, she did some good things and she did a hell of a lot of bad things, which is kind of an easy thing for any prosecutor to do. You know, like it's kind of.
You shouldn't trust anyone who wants to be top cop.
No, well, you shouldn't trust any politician, basically.
No,
and
I
include our faves, right? I think the thing with all of the like brat memes and stuff that people kind of then legitimately felt betrayed a couple of days later when she did the thing that we're going to talk about in one of the next slides, and people realized, oh wait, she's a politician. It's like, no, that was always obvious, you know. I'm not even necessarily against like having a good time making fun of these people or even like making them into memes, but you have to do it with your eyes open, you know. And you have to be aware that they don't really think of you as a human being. Just because you don't get to be vice president or president by doing that.
Right. That's completely true.
I was very confused by I mean, I know that there was the initial honeymoon phase. I was like, okay, I'm not going to post anything until like 24 hours have elapsed. People can be happy for 24 hours and then like, all right, let's let the reality sink in here.
Then us like armchair leftists can, with our sort of like omnipresent air of misery, can say, actually, did you know that this woman who might give you like some hope is bad too?
Yeah, obviously, you know, that's their job. And I love it. Yes. I revel in it.
It's a pleasure, you know. You do what you love. You never work a day in your life.
Right. You will get and deserve nothing. Right. No, I get it.
I just oh, that's cool. You have a photo, like a video of her dancing. Did you know that she went to the California Supreme Court to try and say that trans prisoners' healthcare was like optional?
Wow, that's grotesque.
Yeah. She since like said that she felt bad about it, which thanks, bet that's a huge consolation.
The specific kind of enthusiasm felt really familiar to me, and it was like how people felt about Hillary. Like in the week leading up to the election.
She's a girl gone wild. Do you remember that Madonna tweet?
Exactly.
Happy birthday to this future president.
It's kind of like, oh.
Oh, wait, you were serious? Like that sort of thing?
This, it does not feel good. There's the vibes are off.
I've seen people say, why isn't Beto O'Rourke the VP nom? And I'm just like, I need you to I need you to calm down. I don't know what I need out of you, but I need you to calm down.
Just post less, talk less. I don't know. I think you're right. I hope that she has better political instincts than Hillary. That's not a high bar.
She certainly seems to, for what that's worth, which is very little.
Yeah, and like prosecutor versus felon is gonna like play really well in a lot of places.
Yeah,
right.
She could still lose, right?
Like, they can still really fuck this up if they
the polling
want to,
right now is like Kamala, like I've pronounced her name 4 different ways so far, and none of them have been right. It's like Kamala.
That's going to be the real question, is how the BBC is going to pronounce her name.
Yeah, I mean the funniest thing is Buttigieg for VP, because then you get a kind of like double like pronunciation minefield for broadcasters.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to pick Shapiro. That's
I think so too.
They're definitely going to do that, and it's going to suck.
Really depressing. I think the best answer is Bashir, personally, because I really like Deep Space Nine, and
what he's had to say about vetoing anti-trans bills is genuinely very poignant. Where he was basically
it's an effective,
trans kids
like,
are made in the
tactic
image of God, and I can't stand here before God and deny his wishes or something. Which is like, I don't know, that really resonated with me personally.
You just also have to like successful, like it's very like fruitful to look at these people who are like kind of trying to drive trans kids to like, you have to believe the word, and sorry, be like, these people are like freaks and bullies, right? And it's cruel what they're doing to these children. And that's very successful, and I think that's a tactic that more Democrats could stand to emulate. Not helped, however, by the New York Times opinion, like by the New York Times editorial, going, hey, you know how the Dems can make themselves like more approachable? Why don't they just throw a bunch of trans people onto the bus?
Oh, I saw that article. I didn't read it because it was disgusting. But that's kind of
the New York Times now and forever.
Way to go, Roz.
Except that one guy who had a really good article about the railroads.
Yeah, fuck anyone who's ever written anything that's been published in the New York Times. Fuck a Wordle. I never do a Wordle. Yeah, more of a spelling bee girl actually. But anyway, like. That's like half the paper's revenue as well. Like, seriously, cancel your New York Times game subscription. They do like bootleg copies of them online. But yeah, so Kamala's polling like 46. No, fuck me. It's like it might legitimately be like something like 46, 45, and then the rest is don't know. Like, it's
RFK
real bad.
Jr. comeback of the year.
God, don't even.
I think she's doing a little better in the swing states than Biden was. I think that's where she's doing better with the 35 people who determine the election each year.
Yeah. I mean, Trump hasn't been able to like land a glove on her. In fact, none of the like Republicans have been, which is great. Like, they've gone for like their obvious things, which is like racism and misogyny and like disgusting sexual like.
I assume they have their, the back office at the Heritage Foundation has gone into like war communism mode, trying to retool the opposition research mill for this woman.
Yeah,
they'll have it in a couple weeks. They'll have something, I'm sure.
Right now
everything's bouncing off of her.
Right. Well, Trump was like, I call her laughing Kamala.
Nothing, sourceless.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's that he doesn't have like new material anymore. Like all the stuff with somebody like Joe Biden, who like has been in politics forever. Right, he had material for him. He had like, and those were kill shots, right? But like against Kamala, because he can't invent anything new because his brain is also fried.
Yeah, that's true. I think Trump's material is definitely flagging. He's not doing well in his old age.
In his dotage.
Yeah, got no zingers.
Yeah,
no
like
riz.
He can't even pull back the like Reagan bullshit of being like my opponent's youth and inexperience, right? Which would like put him up 5 points because his brain is fucked.
I love it here.
Yeah, I mean,
watching the debate was like, they were both incapable of like rational thought, but at least Trump could string words together, even though they were horribly racist. There's 100 million people outside, Guatemalans to tear down the the Hoover Dam or whatever.
I think the thing is as well is that I think I'm sort of like almost cautiously optimistic about Kamala. I think she's gonna, like, as anyone elected president will do, gonna do a continuing insane amount of evil in the world.
Yes.
But as far as like kicking the can down the road on keeping like kind of like patrician democracy alive, something which of course we all love, I think she's probably like their best shot for doing it, which
I'll buy that. God, that's grim.
Yeah. I mean, and she might be a smidge better on Palestine.
I have heard that.
This is the thing, like when you look at the actual like body count, not just Palestine. I mean, Palestine's the most salient example, but all the domestic stuff too. It kind of betrays how inadequate any kind of like moderation or like incrementalism really is.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can be like, oh, it's a bit better now, and you're looking at like a fucking wasteland.
Yeah.
Well, the one Palestinian left, I'm sure, will be pleased with Kamala's
moderate policy on Israel.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's going to be a hard impression for Milo to land, but I'm sure he's working on it.
This is true. I haven't really heard Kamala speak. That's the other thing. I'm kind of like, okay,
she giggles a lot.
She's got nice vibes, and this is the thing with the like all of the memes and stuff, is that I think, irrespective of the kind of politicianness, I think I find her quite personally charming. It just doesn't matter,
Right, because she's still a hideous war criminal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely more personable, and would be the first non-teetotaler in office for.
Is that true?
Years. Yeah,
huh.
Yeah. Biden didn't drink. Trump didn't drink. Obama drank.
A lot.
Bush didn't drink.
No,
I need to know if she smokes as well, because Obama reset the big smoking counter. And neither Biden nor Trump did. So, like, if she does, America might be cool again.
America could be cool again.
If she comes out to the inauguration, right, obviously, like, blood, like, stained with, like, international, especially Palestinian blood, but wearing a shirt that said, like, do not give me a cigarette under any circumstances, no matter what I say, that might, like, reclaim some American standing in the world,
See, we need to bring back, real Americans like FDR. You smoke a cigarette with a big long holder.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Maybe the reason why
cool, as we know.
I mean, this is the thing. Obama was cool, but like in the same way as Bill Clinton, right? The cool kind of wore off pretty quickly.
Oh, tell me about it.
Whereas someone like LBJ, again, blood-drenched war criminal murderer, but like personally
Great Society Metros.
Personally cool.
Great Society Metros.
You get the Great Society Metros out. So maybe the recipe is, in order to get like kind of domestic political change out of a Democrat, you need them to be cool in an actual way.
And that means they have to take up smoking.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're on the kind of draft Kamala sort of campaign, but it's drafting her into like smoking.
Yes. Exactly. You got to take up smoking. Kids, if you want to
cool.
be cool and be president, you got to take up smoking. That's official advice from the podcast. Take up smoking now. Ask your parents to bring you to the 7-Eleven. Get a pack of Lucky Strikes.
Yes.
When I smoked, I started smoking Lucky Strikes, and you couldn't find them anywhere, so I'd switch to Marlboros.
That is the case. I mean, in the very, very rare occasions when I smoke, it's like, I'd like a Lucky Strike. I haven't smoked I smoked like once every 6 months for a while, and now I don't do it at all.
I'm always jealous of people who can do that. I have a hopelessly like addictive personality, so I smoked like 2 packs a day, give or take.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, from when I was 18 to 25, and quit cold turkey because I'm awesome. But like,
you sure are.
Yeah.
I feel miserable for like a day afterwards if I have one cigarette. That's why I don't do it.
No, I don't even like being around cigarette smoke now. Which is cool. It's cool how you can just kind of like reset your brain like that.
I just liked taking smoke breaks is the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's the nice part of it.
I think it was really good for whatever like fucking neurodivergence, like ADHD bullshit or whatever I have going on, to like force myself to go and like do another activity, which is light something on fire for 5 minutes.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, and they ruined that by making cigarettes you can smoke indoors. I mean, that was stupid.
Vapes are so like sourceless apart from everything else, you know? Like, ugh. Something cool about a vape, you know? You show me a like private detective with a vape.
No. Nope.
No.
This is what Kamala really needs to do: is make smoking legal again.
Yes.
Smoking legal, vapes illegal.
Yeah, really 180-degree turn from Biden trying to make menthols illegal.
Fucker. You all dead bitch.
Yeah.
I still can't believe Biden tried to make menthols illegal. That's one of the most like wild like public health measures, you know, as menthol specifically.
It's racist is what it is.
Yeah. It is. Joe Biden racist?
Oh my God. Who
Joe
would
Biden segregationist?
Yeah, but he won South Carolina, a place where there is no racism.
It was always funny to me when like in the kind of dying weeks of the campaign, when people like commentators, people who are well thought of as like political journalists, were like, well, you know, African Americans love Biden, so why aren't they turning out for him now? And then, you know, you would see a bunch of Vox Pops, a bunch of interviews with people, and they're like, obviously he is 9,000 years old. I saw the debate and like one of his ears fell off. I cannot vote for this man. And it's like, yeah, they just have the same concerns as everyone else, which is that he was manifestly like unable to keep doing it. But it was kind of perceived as like, it always got written up as like, oh, Joe Biden is like the kind of like the African American whisperer. And it's like, but are we talking about the same guy, the crime bill guy?
Yeah, like, the crime bill guy, the guy who can't put a sentence together. I mean, apparently as early as like 2021, like he was addressing Congress and just like completely binning it like halfway through, just like had no idea where he was or what he was doing. I would say the media was concealing this from us, but it was more like, you know, that it was fairly obvious. They were gaslighting us the whole goddamn time about this guy's mental decline. You know, I mean.
Well, also, I think he had a lot of cover from Trump, right? Because Trump had spent 4 years being deeply insane.
Yes,
right.
And we had all kind of
much more lucid fashion.
Right. Yeah. But we'd all had us kind of like sensitivity adjusted, right? By like 4 years of the president has said the most insane thing you've ever heard for like the fifth consecutive day again.
The president is mad at a soda.
The president almost made like reunified Korea, but then Robert De Niro hurt his feelings.
Right. Oh yeah, that did happen.
What again? Actors weirdly like kind of power brokers here because George Clooney brought down Biden, so you know we got them together. We could reunify Korea again.
The Film Actors Guild from Team America World Police is real.
One fun thing about this if she wins is that it does like almost verbatim do the Cumtown bit. The only Cumtown bit I like about how we never get a white woman president, and it just drives white women insane because they can't say, "Isn't it time we had a white woman president?" And it just never
really funny.
No,
that would be extremely funny.
Just I think there's a few reasons why I hope Kamala wins, but I think high up the list is the Hillary Clinton congratulations tweet. I will be turning notifications on for Hillary this is like on election night.
Sort of stumble backwards into the presidency. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing, speaking of tweets, that's been fun about this has been people being made to fall in line by Nancy Pelosi.
She is ruthless and terrifying.
Whether it's John Fetterman or like even Barack Obama, like everybody who is withholding an endorsement, like a couple of days later has just like done a like fulsome endorsement. And it's fully like, I see someone has been credibly threatened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw your
Pelosi
tweets.
is
Guess who
like,
just got credibly threatened?
Yeah, I mean, she put John Fetterman on a leash. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, it's depressing and frustrating too that she didn't
she could have
bother
done
to
this
do
the
that.
whole time.
Yeah, any of the times that he's like said any of the shit that he has, she could have like brought him to heel, but she didn't. But
I have it on good authority, so I will reveal some personal information here, which is that Corinne's youngest sibling interned for a congressman who flipped parties from Democrat to Republican. It's not that hard to figure out, but I'm not going to nothing for free.
Sure.
And the scariest days that Corinne's sibling worked were the days that the congressperson in question got yelled at by Nancy Pelosi. Because apparently she could scream at you for hours.
She's got, the thing is, right, like she's been in Washington for like as long as Joe Biden has, if not longer, right? And also has the mindset of a Marine DI.
Yes.
The fact that she uses this for like mostly evil is not great, but at a certain point you have to not admire it, but you have to sort of like recognize the power of the work.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're very good at your job.
Yeah, she will.
This guy had to switch parties to avoid getting yelled at.
He did. He would just like come back just like with his tail between his legs, and apparently it was just like Nancy days were the worst days for this
I believe
person.
it. Yeah.
I always laughed at that just like this guy who's like now pals around with Trump and all that shit and talks about, oh, we're gonna save the state, blah 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 blah. It's just like you couldn't handle getting yelled at by like a 5-foot Italian dude.
I'm not sure if I could handle that, to be honest.
No, I think I would.
Like the older Italian women
I have
get,
my mother-in-law. I'm fine.
The meaner they get, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I would not do well in an argument with Nancy Pelosi, I think.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about our next charismatic hero.
Oh boy.
In other news, let's talk about
I've done some threat level stuff because you wrote possible and I upgraded it on the basis of like intelligence assessed to probable.
Probable couch fucker chosen for VP slot. Let's talk about JD Vance.
You guys are incredible headline writers.
This motherfucker. I will be saying the phrase "this motherfucker" about a number of people. Incredible eyeliner game though. I do have to give him that. I was about
to say, yeah, he's going to be our first goth vice president.
That's not true. Hubert Humphrey was like in the Black Parade.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, no, JD Vance, author of Hillbilly Elegy.
Terrible fucking book.
Yep, senator for Ohio. All round piece of shit. And like I mean, here's the thing, right? Bad enough to have the kind of like horny-handed son of toil made good thing and come to like rain ruin on the elites bullshit. But to do that specifically through the lens of like having been to Yale Law School is just that combination makes you one of the worst freaks going, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just look at this guy and like I could have written a book where I pretend to be from Appalachia too. And I could be vice president now.
Yeah, you could be talking about like Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew.
Well, how Diet Mountain Dew is racist according to Democrats. That was the worst attempted
Mountain
joke I have seen in my life.
Make me racist? I don't even know how to. He's
got bad crowd work. Is the thing?
No, the crowd work was really bad. Like I could have seen a way that you could have made that work with that audience. But his comedic timing is so bad.
It's getting a laugh out of like a Trump audience is like the easiest layup in the world, right? You just do like
exactly.
Pronouns, huge laugh, bring the fucking house down.
Yeah, brings the house down. Yeah,
and the thing is, right? You want as like vice presidential candidate someone who will be a bit of a like barnstormer. Right. You want someone like the Biden to your Obama, right? The kind of the meme Biden that grasps podium liquid swords Biden. And what you've got instead is JD Vance instead of someone authentically like insane, you know?
No, I feel like you could workshop this fairly easily. Mountain Dew, it's a reference to moonshine. Who makes moonshine? Hillbillies. hillbillies are racist. That's why the Democrats don't like Mountain Dew. I assume that is. I'm not saying that's the exact format of the joke. I'm saying these are the things you have to work with. The thing is, this guy wrote a whole damn book where he said he hates hillbillies, which is a bizarre choice for, ostensibly the racist hillbilly party. You know,
wanna know something really funny? You know who inspired him to write the book? You remember the Tiger Mom lady, Amy Chua?
Yeah.
She was his professor at Yale Law School, and she told him to write the book. She like gave him like feedback on like early drafts and shit.
That tracks.
Oh my god.
So it's when a villain from an earlier season comes back in a cameo. But yeah, no, I just the funniest thing about Vance as a pick, aside from the fact that Trump now obviously regrets it and hates the guy.
Yeah, so it's apparently been asking around for people to who he should replace him with, which is incredibly funny to me.
The biggest cucking of all time if they do replace him. But the thing is, the reason he got picked in the first place was it was Don Jr.'s pick.
Embarrassing.
They finally it's like the fucking plane crash where the pilot lets his kid in the cockpit and the kid immediately like nosedives the plane, right? Like time
or like Hunter Biden trying to keep Biden back in.
Oh Jesus, no. Do you think Biden's gonna pardon Hunter on his way out? That'd be funny.
That would be so good if he better do that. I think if he really loves his son, he should do that.
Just like fuck all of you.
I don't give a shit. I'm leaving. I'm leaving with my son. Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
Yeah, that would be pretty good actually. Like, yeah. But yeah, so Don Jr. had like one shot at like influence over the campaign, and he's like, I want my like weird like fascist American monarchist esoteric guy who hangs out in a Discord with a bunch of teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of weird 20-year-old groiper. Yeah.
No, that was a weird one. That was a weird one. Why are
it's
you?
Not the couches I'm worried about him fucking. You know.
Oh yeah, it's the kids. It's he's gonna fuck some kids. Don't believe that. Leave it in. Sorry,
I made the same joke on the TF I recorded earlier today that like the reason Trump doesn't like him is because he's jealous that there's another gay pedophile around. Like
Jesus Christ, you're not wrong, but Jesus Christ.
I mean, this guy, I don't understand the appeal of this guy at all.
I was gonna say I don't understand the appeal of gay pedophiles. I don't think you're.
I can easily put myself in the shoes of a hillbilly, which is why I'm writing a fake book about being one, so I can be vice president. But this guy, I would just look at this guy and say, what the fuck?
I hate the beard. It's so obviously I'm gonna camouflage my like kind of doughy cheeked complexion and my weak chin.
As a guy who does the same thing.
It's not like a real like it. This is a there's what is the word here? There's beards that you grow because you like beards, and then there's beards of necessity.
This is actually, it's just occurred to me, the eyeliner, the beard, the like groomed eyebrows, man is trying to make himself look like the Chad. He's trying to make himself look like the like
that could be the case.
Yeah, I think he's legitimately trying to do that.
He might be going for that look.
This photo is the first time I've seen him in like close to profile, and now that I'm seeing it, I think that's legitimately what he's doing, and I feel like I've cracked the fucking code here. You know,
this is the first photograph I found of him, and it was so bizarre because it was like at this weird angle. I'm not sure if he was leaning back or not. Yeah, so I corrected for that.
Sort of like your spin stabilized JD Vance. Where did the couch fucking thing come from, by the way? Because I believe it implicitly.
Like just a tweet that someone is like, "Oh, he talks about in Hillbilly Elegy." No, he doesn't.
No, he talks about in Hillbilly Elegy about how he put a inside out latex glove in between two couch cushions and fucked it. Now,
so I'm not gonna judge anyone. I know a woman who fucked two cans of Spam tape together, right? So I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I know it's one of the worst things I've ever heard, but
that doesn't sound good.
No.
Was it the cans or was it the meat inside?
No. It was the meat. It was the meat like pressed together into two halves taped together and then
that
fucked.
Doesn't sound like fun.
No,
I didn't think
it'd
so
be
either.
weirder if it were the cans, though.
I actually thought it was the can, so I was just like,
Yeah,
oh, insertion. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But
No. We're still mutuals, like that's Oomphy, but
I couldn't do that without immediately getting the spam song from Monty Python stuck in my head. I'd definitely kill the vibe.
spam. Attaboy.
Yeah.
Spammity spam, wonderful spam at the climax. That's not good. You don't want that.
No, so I on the
You're
one
gonna
hand,
develop some pathologies from that.
I would be like sort of remiss then to criticize JD Vance for fucking a couch. But on the other hand, I entirely believe it of him because I know people who have fucked stranger things.
And I mean, the one thing that happened is, after the first tweet, then there was a article in the AP about no, JD Vance didn't fuck a couch, and then they had to retract it because while there's no evidence for him fucking a couch, you can't prove he didn't. Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. If that is Kamala, then she is leaning into the LBJ thing of like, I want to make the son of a bitch deny it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the couch he's gonna fuck. It's if he gets in, it's gonna be America because like I can't stress enough. Again, we talked about this on Trash Future. This is a guy who's like very deeply hooked into the weird kind of fascist stuff. Like Trump doesn't give a fuck about it. Like the Project 2025 stuff, he'll do it. He'll 100% become American Hitler if they give him the chance. But it's not because he wants to do any work, because he doesn't.
Because every Hitler needs a weird Nazi party behind him, full of like people trying to do like weird rituals
it's absolutely like a Himmler vibe off this guy, you know, like
exactly.
If he's vice president, he's like directing a bunch of U.S. government money into like weird archaeology to
he's gonna put runes on the Naval Observatory.
Oh God.
he's gonna try and do some kind of ancient Viking summoning ritual.
Yeah. You can't let this guy be vice president, man.
He's gonna start talking about Odin in every speech. He's gonna
Yeah, it's like he's on this like weird like Mencius mold bug thing. All of these guys, man, just they need to put them on a barge and they need to float it into the Pacific Ocean and just leave it for a while, you know?
Yeah.
They're just gonna start decorating like the vice presidential residence with various mosses and herbs that have ritual significance.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Trump, kind of a like crowd pleaser if the crowd is extremely racist. He gets the people going, gets them riled up, right? And then we also brought in this guy who is trying to like inscribe ancient Babylonian demon summoning sigils like on the fucking stage.
He's gonna like throw off the atomic clock. Because he was trying to manipulate it in some kind of like fertility ritual.
I'm still baffled that this guy became a senator, to be honest. But like,
I don't want this guy anywhere near the atomic clock.
No.
But if he becomes vice president, it'll be in his backyard.
Every couch in the Naval Observatory ruined.
Oh my God! It'll be worse than Liz Truss and towels.
What? Ew, what? I missed this one. What?
Liz Truss went through like an alarming amount of bathrobes as prime minister at like the official residence. She like soiled so many fucking bathrobes.
Well, okay, I'm pointy.
You don't know what she was soiling them with.
Yeah, exactly. That's the fun, Nova.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh God.
Spin that wheel, baby. Let's do this.
In other news, don't worry, we'll get back to politics. Well, this is still politics. The city of Jasper, Alberta has been destroyed.
Oh God.
Oh no. How'd that happen?
A big, huge wildfire in Jasper National Park.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's some indications a good chunk of the downtown survived. This is one of these, historic vacation destinations in the Rocky Mountains, right? But we'll have confirmation later. This is St. Mary's and St. George, which is relatively close to downtown. This is like not a small or unknown place. This is a pretty good sized town, and just this wildfire just completely overran it. I mean, this is a stop on the Canadian, which is the transcontinental railroad in transcontinental passenger train in Canada. There was these really extensive evacuations. You can see here, people got stuck in a traffic jam for 6 hours trying to
Fuck
get
that.
out of the town.
Oof.
Because we can't conceive that a town that has a railroad, you could maybe use a train to evacuate, but that's another story. But yeah, this the Jasper wildfire has been, really, really aggressive, as I understand it. It's been going on for like a long time now. And yeah, it just went straight for the town of Jasper and like knocked out a good chunk of it. Again, I think a good amount of the downtown area survived, but we don't know yet. This sort of happened a few hours before we recorded.
Jesus. I'm not loving that this is becoming like a sort of everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
With the bicycle
just a
murder
town just
thing,
gets
yes.
wiped out. Yeah.
Well, that happened to Fort Mac, right, a few years back.
Did it?
Fort Mac didn't get completely wiped out. It was some of the outer subdivisions got wiped out, though.
Still, though.
Yeah, it's still like pretty bad. That one town in Hawaii, that one got completely wiped out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget what it's called. Now I feel like I'm insulting the people of Hawaii.
I also do not remember.
Crap.
Hmm.
That's not the name of the town.
We're like cancelled for
Yeah,
racism.
they're canceled.
Lahaina,
Yeah,
guys.
What?
okay, good.
Lahaina.
Lahaina.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Well.
we're not canceled anymore.
There we go.
That one got completely wiped out. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
And it is a combination of. There's been some folks who have been saying, well, this is because the Canadian government is spending money on aid to Ukraine instead of wildfire prevention.
Come
And
on,
it's
man.
like I don't think that's the case. I think climate change is an aspect. Bad forest management is an aspect. Really bad forest management. Just sort of having less resources to fight wildfires is an aspect, but it's not like you couldn't have prevented this given
not
all the
zeroing out the
decisions that
budget,
had
like-
been made before.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, the town of Jasper existed in the context of all that came before it. She tried to warn us, guys.
Did not just fall out of the pine tree. Yes.
I mean, like, this is the weird thing about forest fires. I say weird, is that they really just or wildfires just crop up in unexpected places. This is not one of them, right? Necessarily, but like, think a lot about how the big like strategic planning document for like future resilience for London just got published. And aside from the like headline stuff that like half of all properties are going to get like hit with subsidence or like you need a new Thames barrier. Part of it is also a bunch of stuff's going to get burned down by forest fires. Yeah, that is just like or like wildfires because you just have enough grass around it, it just burns. So yeah, it's bad to be on a heating planet. I think maybe.
Yeah, it's not very good. Probably someone should do something about it.
I mean, listen. I think maybe if Kamala is the next president, maybe she's just going to do the like cloud seeding or whatever, and everything's going to be fine.
I mean, at this point, you're kind of stuck with maybe we should do the sulfur dioxide bullshit. It's going to be, we don't know what's going to happen, but at the very least, if you find yourself in a sort of Snowpiercer situation, you can just stop seeding the clouds and it stops working.
Yeah, and then you get that sweet rebound effect.
Hell yeah.
Which is the thing we're currently in, funnily enough, because of the like boat fuels.
Yeah, the boat fuels got changed. Yeah, I mean, this is presumably how they wound up in the Game of Thrones universe. Where it's like 12 years of summer, then 12 years of winter, or whatever the bullshit is.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I guess if the geoengineering doesn't work out, we're just stuck with we got to solve a kind of like heretofore unknown engineering problem, or we're all going to die, which is what we're already in now with like climate, with like carbon capture and storage. So
it's lots of air conditioners.
Yeah, just everybody like get an air conditioner and like run it as high as possible all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Texas, yeah, fuck you, Texas.
when I like, if I'm ever able to like leverage this podcast to inshallah buy a house, the first thing that I'm doing is air conditioning. So
central air, baby.
Not a thing that is common in the UK, but
we will help you get central air.
It is about to be, is the thing. Like if you wanna make bank in this country, I think get into the like HVAC game.
Sell shovels.
Yeah.
I mean that's that career advice for our younger listeners. Get into HVAC.
Yeah.
It's absolutely miserable. Yeah, like friend of the show and all three hosts of Kill James Bond, Matty Lubchansky, used to work in that field and was
didn't know
like
that.
Yeah, and was so like dispirited by it that they ended up drawing comics instead. Which I mean
well, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I'm very glad that it has done. Like, but that's the kind of endorsement of like working in HVAC, I guess, is
you will be miserable
bad
for a while,
enough to propel you into the idea of like maybe I should draw for a living.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially in the United States. I mean, we install a lot of very obsolete HVAC systems that aren't very good.
Sure do.
And charge people a lot of money for them.
Mini splits. I like mini splits.
Hey, but you do get some like complicity because by running the HVAC, you are also like burning down the town because you're making it like hotter on the outside. You're polluting.
Yep, but I don't think Milkshake could live in a house that was on air conditioned in this weather.
No, he'd die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got to protect Milkshake. In other news,
this one's all me. So we've been waiting to talk about this for a while, and I've kind of been reluctant about it because it hits a little close to home.
This man looks like a overgrown child.
Yeah. So
I would like to beat this man to death with his own shoes. Is that an appropriate thing to say?
I can't possibly comment. This is Wes Streeting, who is the secretary
this motherfucker.
Yeah, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care. He's in charge of the NHS, and you begin to identify one problem of like socialized medicine. So there's a couple, in that your healthcare is at the mercy of one extremely transphobic and careerist lickspittle, such as this.
Yes.
So you may have heard of the Cass review. I think we talked about it on prior news thing, which was the
one that said trans people aren't real.
Yeah, the one that said that trans people aren't real, and specifically that like trans kids should just kind of like suffer.
Fuck that noise.
Yeah. Well, as a consequence of that, this guy Wes Streeting has effectively banned puberty blockers, which are like reversible drug that you take if you're like if you're a child and you are like maybe trans, maybe not, you want to like wait and find out rather than going through like the puberty that you got like assigned randomly. It just kind of like differs, that kicks the can down the road, right?
And these are like things that are relatively commonly prescribed for other conditions, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like other it's normal unless you think you might be trans.
Exactly, yeah, and explicitly for that reason, you now can't get like a private prescription of them, and you also can't get them on the NHS. I believe the idea was that you would be able to get them, like the Cass sort of like compromise, such as it wasn't a compromise, like it was a stalking horse for this, was that you'd be able to get them as part of like a research like protocol, and then no research protocol was ever designed or like announced or anything like that. So the answer is just suffer, right?
So just go fuck yourself.
At all.
Yeah, make kids miserable. Cool, that's great. That's
absolutely
awesome. That's
absolutely
terrific.
And I mean, the thing is, aside from like the kind of naked spite of this, I've mentioned this on Twitter before, but like I had this kind of naive idea at one time, even relatively recently, like a few years back, that like there was this kind of the transgender tipping point, right? There was going to be this like sea change in attitudes, and there was going to be like a generation of kids for whom like being trans was like a sort of like minor personality detail, right? Like a childhood illness, essentially. Like that's a very like problematic way of putting it. Don't yell at me. but fundamentally, like it's something that you sort of like realize as a kid. You take some medication for it, and then like you kind of like there's a qualitative difference to your life as a result because you never went through the like puberty that you would be like otherwise sort of coercively genetically assigned. And you know, I was like simultaneously happy for those kids and also a little bit worried for myself as a kind of original model transsexual that this would be a kind of like unfashionable mode of being. Luckily, guys like Wes came to the rescue to make it so that there will be as yet no generation of trans people who are not miserable, and ideally for them like forced to go through a kind of like
agony.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I experienced puberty basically as you remember that scene from Prometheus?
Yes.
The like, yeah, kind of like that, only it lasted for several years. And I don't love anyone else being forced to do that, but this guy does. So, and as far as these things go, it is still like it's still in the courts. So we'll see, right? But I think it shows the intent of the Labour Party in government, and I not just this, but some of the other stuff like the 2-child benefit cap. The right wing of the Labour Party, which kind of controls the government, is very set on this idea that we're gonna like make the left squeal by doing these things, and it's gonna like establish our kind of virility. Like I've heard the benefit cap described as a virility test for the government, like internally. Which is an insane thing to say about like, oh, we're gonna make it like so your kids can't get food or your kids can't get healthcare, right? Is that this makes us tough?
We gotta make our government more fuckable. We're
I
gonna
need
make the government more fuckable by abusing people.
I need the government to be submissive and breedable.
But more like dominant in this case. But yeah, no, it's just really grim, and I'm sure there will be multiple Devon notes on this one as well. I think that it just
grotesque.
It's grotesque, and it's like even if I was so self-centered as to not care about the kids, it would be pretty frightening for me as an adult as well, because like I'm aware that like I'm next, you know. And I think this should be pretty frightening for you, even if you're cis in the UK, because like if the guy's going to like compromise with a bunch of evangelical headbangers and like freak bigots about this, then why not abortion as well?
Yeah,
something which is on
they will come for you eventually.
Something which is on extremely shaky ground legally in the UK, and which could be very easily outlawed. So you know, just keep an eye on it. I think the best remedy, as ever, is like protest and direct action. So maybe do some of that.
And kids, in addition to taking up smoking, learn to buy Russian research chemicals on the dark web.
Listen, as yet, they have not succeeded in passing an online safety bill that stops kids from using Google, right? So you're allowed to find out what the standard for your healthcare in civilized countries is.
And
act on that as you see accordingly. Like legally, we probably can't put any links in this in the description.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, YouTube's not going to like that
problem.
one.
Yeah.
The algorithm already doesn't like this one.
That's depressing. It's always like, you know, you see people talking about, isn't it great Labour won in Britain? And then they immediately went around and just, doubled down on austerity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just an austerity, and they're gonna, they hate the trans kids. They hate everyone. They're making everyone miserable. They're like, hey, we can make people miserable better than the Tories could.
Yeah.
And HS2 is still canceled.
Thanks for nothing.
but look on the bright side. At least England won the Euros.
Oh my God.
It turned out that what I was actually doing was jinxing it the hardest anyone had ever jinxed it. So
it did
sorry
not
for that.
come home.
No, it did not. It did not. Ugh.
The world's most self-sabotaging country.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be true, which is insane.
Which is
but
We're not
incredible,
allowed
really.
to have nice things.
no,
because trans kids might get them.
do not allow anything to trick you into thinking that Britain might be like a good or fun place to live. On the other hand, I'm staying here for as long as I can because I'm fucked if I'm going to let this guy kick me out of it, you know?
That's a good point. Yeah. Why should I change? He's the one who sucks.
That's right, yeah. All right, I'm sick of looking at this guy.
Next.
Hi, it's Justin. So this is a commercial for the podcast that you're already listening to. People are annoyed by these, so let me get to the point. We have this thing called Patreon, right? The deal is you give us $2 a month, and we give you an extra episode once a month. Sometimes it's a little inconsistent, but it's $2. You get what you pay for. It also gets you our full back catalog of bonus episodes, so you can learn about exciting topics like guns, pickup trucks, or pickup trucks with guns on them. The money we raise through Patreon goes to making sure that the only ad you hear on this podcast is this one. Anyway, that's something to consider if you have $2 to spare each month. Join at patreon.com/WTYP pod. Do it if you want. Or don't. It's your decision, and we respect that. Back to the show. Yeah, in other news, we brought international war criminal Benny from Cheltenham Netanyahu to address Congress.
Oh, this is what part. This is the notes say. This is a part where, as the review said, we will be subtly anti-Israel. Fuck Israel doesn't deserve to exist.
I've never been accused of being subtle in my fucking life.
Exactly.
No. Someone wrote a review of the podcast saying that we were subtly anti-Israel.
No,
Free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. Exactly. No, I was. Someone got mad at me at Twitter for being an anti-Zionist Jew. To which I say, suck my ass and balls.
Mm-hmm.
So we invited this guy with a warrant out for his arrest by the International Court of Justice.
Good enough, bud.
The ICJ, whatever it's called.
IC&J with a new PB&J, etc.
Yeah, the IC&J. Yeah, it's and he gave a speech and it was horrible. And everyone stood up and applauded. Give us more weapons, we'll finish the job.
Thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. And it's kind of
insane and insulting to be doing a Zelensky tribute act, not least when you consider that Zelensky more or less begged Israel for aid and they told him to go fuck himself consistently for a couple of years. It's real bad is the thing. And I just outside they had the cops macing kids while this smug fascist called them unwitting agents for Iran and whatever.
Yeah, I mean they one of the various Jewish pro-Palestine groups occupied the Capitol dome, and then the police had to forcibly evict them. And then they're obviously anti-Semitic Jews. That was the whole thing right there. I think someone dumped maggots into the conference room at the Watergate Hotel where Netanyahu and crew were staying.
You're telling me that there are bugs at the Watergate?
Yeah, there's bugs at the Watergate. Yeah.
Very good, Nova.
It doesn't even make sense because were they planting bugs or just stealing documents? I don't even remember.
I believe they were trying to bug it too. I'm pretty sure they were trying to bug it too.
Oh man, makes sense.
They run into a bunch of Soviets also trying to bug it.
Hey, this is our turf, fuckhead. I tried to combine motherfucker and fuckhead, and it came out muckhead.
Muckhead.
A lot of folks skipped the speech, but there's a lot of
including Kamala.
Kamala did skip the speech to go to a sorority
Alpha
thing.
Kappa Alpha, I guess.
Hey, don't disrespect it.
I would never. I get much like the tiny Italian woman thing. I know better than to disrespect an alpha, right? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, no. She was out. She was out of town. Nancy Pelosi gave a surprisingly strident statement because again, she's in like combat mode right now, where she's like, "Fuck this guy." I mean, as much as Nancy Pelosi,
as much as a
will do that.
Democrat,
Where she's like, would you know, he's like a kind of like divisive figure. We want him to like take the deal and bring the hostages home, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't gonna do the like, you know, right like intifada on the Liberty Bell. You know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
A replica of the Liberty Bell.
Replica Liberty Bell defaced with pro-Hamas graffiti.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, you know what? Wipe it off. Come on, this is not difficult. We see here Rashida Tlaib, who did attend the speech to protest Netanyahu, who is factually speaking a war criminal, as divined by several international bodies at this point.
Yeah.
I think the ICJ just
pathetic for your thing to be like, you know, California's top cop, like prosecutor, and then be like, oh well, this guy with a warrant on him is coming to town, so I'm just going to be like away when he's here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she should have just arrested him. I mean, that would have been pretty funny.
Listen, if Kamala had done like a citizen's arrest of Benny from Cheltenham, I think I would feel comfortable in saying that you should vote for her. That would get her the like unqualified endorsement.
Yeah, that'd be an unqualified endorsement for me as well. You know, I'd be like, okay, you know, citizen's arrest, and then they put him in like, they don't put him in like a federal prison. They put him in like local DC lockup. You know.
Next to a bunch of protesters.
Yeah, next to a bunch of protesters. Oh, that'd be funny.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
hey, how's everyone doing today? I'm Ben from Cheltenham, Pennsylvania.
But yeah, no, I mean, I admire Rashida Tlaib a lot. I think this is a brave thing to do. And I'm it's shameful that she was the only one who was like protesting in any meaningful way.
I was about to say, yeah, at least in the chambers, outside the chambers, quite a lot of protests. You know, there was the one everyone's taking pictures of in Columbus Circle outside Union Station, you know, where they put a bunch of graffiti on the Columbus statue and also the replica Liberty Bell. But there were also like some bigger protests, you know, along Pennsylvania Avenue, I want to say. Obviously, there were some outside the Watergate Hotel. I mean, there were a pretty strong protest presence the whole way. I mean, you know, the war in Gaza has not exactly let up. You know, this is something to remember. It's been less in the news recently, but I forget what that medical journal is.
The Lancet.
The Lancet, you know, has estimated that something like 1/10 of the Palestinian population has been killed in this conflict.
Fucking Christ.
They've actually decimated them. You know, in the traditional sense of the word. Stuff's bad there right now. Right. It's absurd, you know, just well, one of the things, if you watch any like regular media coverage of this, is, you know, it's like these killings just happen, and it's like, well, no, this is entirely one-sided. It's all Israel killing Palestinians. It's I don't know. I had a experience, you know, watching news with my family last weekend. And it's just, you know, you look at the coverage of the news of the conflict from the mainstream media, it's just bizarre. Because these deaths are not attributed to anything other than an abstract force.
Yeah, there was a piece from a couple of American like surgeons who went over there to like volunteer about like what they saw in their time there and what they did, and like, we got another 5 kids today shot in the head by sniper rifles. Wonder who did that. Yeah, exactly. Like the number of kids who they found like shot in the head was like astounding. And they could do like next to nothing for them.
Right. Unbelievably fucking evil. Just pure fucking evil. Again, Israel specifically has no right to exist.
Yeah.
I should have put some cheerful news in this summer.
No, unfortunately, there's not. Like, for a week where decades have happened, like, I this is why I kind of like understand on some level the people being like Kamala so brat or whatever is like, you gotta get something somewhere.
Something, right?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have a little bright spot somewhere, even if they're gonna they're gonna fuck that one up too. But that's gonna take a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Val,
What did we
Israel
learn?
continues to be bad. In other news,
Oh, this is a little bright spot. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, no.
No.
Oh.
SpaceX destroyed one of their rockets and there's some of their satellites, and also the National Labor Relations Board.
They crash a rocket into it?
So there was some flaw in a recent Falcon 9 launch where the upper stage did not fire correctly. I think there was a propellant leak, which is what all this ice here is. It did not deliver the payload of 20 Starlink satellites into the correct orbit. They're all going to deorbit in like a week or two.
Hey,
So if
a
a
bit
satellite,
less space litter.
yeah, exactly. So if a satellite crashes into your house, you know who to sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of luck, you know?
But
You just have to sue the
simultaneously-
most annoying man on the internet.
Yeah, you have to go talk to Elon Musk.
And he'll
But at
call
least
you
it's
like
through-
a pedophile.
Oh, instantly, yeah.
No.
He's got pedophile seeking satellites.
JD Vance in serious danger.
Oh my God, they crashed directly into his couch.
That couch told him she was 18.
Oh God, Nova.
Yeah, the most unrealistic thing about that was the pronoun she.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Christ on sale.
So they botched one of their own payloads on a Falcon 9. But the other thing they did very recently is SpaceX has prevailed in getting a preliminary injunction against the National Labor Relations Board, preventing them from routine enforcement in Texas and Louisiana. I think another state, but I'm not sure. It might be Mississippi. This is in anticipation of a future ruling by the Supreme Court, which would make the National Labor Relations Board unconstitutional.
Yay. I mean,
Yeah.
of course this Supreme Court would do it.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
issue-
What's
The
an
issue
official
at
act?
hand.
Fuck you.
Yeah, this was a lawsuit that I want to say was SpaceX and I think
Starbucks?
also Starbucks and then a third company, Amazon. I think
wanna say
Amazon. Yeah,
Amazon.
Oh, the Super
Yeah.
Friends.
the Super Friends. Yeah,
No,
at
Whole
least
Foods-
at
Whole
least
Foods,
Starbucks
but
haven't.
So Amazon. Yeah.
At least Starbucks haven't done a vanity project of trying to go to space. You know.
Not yet.
yet.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, I copied this from Matt Brunig's newsletter.
Oh boy.
Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, also known as SpaceX, sought a preliminary injunction in a Texas federal district court against the National Labor Relations Board and its officers, including the NLRB's administrative law judges. The core issue was the constitutionality of the removal protections for NLRB members and ALJs. That's the administrative law judges. SpaceX argued that these protections violate the president's Article 2 power of removal and the district court applying this Fifth Circuit's decision in Jarksy. I don't know what that is. That's probably a case of some kind. Decided that SpaceX was likely to win this argument and preliminarily enjoined the NLRB from initiating an administrative proceeding against SpaceX. In this case, that was, they're not allowed to enforce or proceed in any basic labor complaint because they think the way that judges are able to be removed is unconstitutional.
And it doesn't matter anyway, because after Chevron, like the NLRB is like, well, all kind of agencies are now like functionally powerless anyway.
Mhm.
So
This is true. Yeah, like a lot of the administrative state is just
is dead now. Pending Supreme Court reform.
yeah. It's
I have some
it's a
ideas
matter
about
of
how to do
time.
that.
I was gonna say I have some ideas too. It involves mass.
But
Don't believe
I would
that.
at least pack the cord.
I
I
mean,
mean, packet full of explosives.
Or again, just as he leaves office,
24 Supreme Court
yeah,
justices a
33.
second.
President Joe Biden issues an executive order ruling that Marbury versus Madison was wrongly decided.
As we've agreed, yes.
Yeah. Now that depends a lot on who the next president is, whether you do that. But if it's Kamala, okay, sure, whatever.
All power to the liberal coup, you know.
Yeah, all power to the liberal Soviets.
Would be very funny for the like Federalist Society and the Republicans to have like set up this like generation long project that's about to come to fruition, and that like it gets
Derailed
swept
by
out from
Kamala
them and like
Harris.
turned around on them because Don Jr. picked JD Vance to be vice president.
I mean, that would be entertaining if like they did the whole Project 2025 thing, and then like the next guy was a Democrat. You know, it's like, you know, you move too slow on, you know, the super gerrymander.
Yeah.
You know, and now I don't know. Dr. Brother Cornel West is president. Just you know,
I think he actually finally did make that tweet come true, and his with a brother Trump recently, which
oh yeah, he has done that before. Yeah, it's not the first time.
Brother Vance.
But yeah, we're going to wind up in a situation where there's no National Labor Relations Board, and that's going to be interesting to see how the unions are going to respond to that.
Well, I mean, I know how the head of the Teamsters responded by going to the Republican convention.
Yeah.
Sean O'Brien, I think, made I know that he's like trying to, you know, what's the word? He's trying to play both sides there. I know that. I'm not sure that it's like a gambit that it seems like it has very little upsides and a lot of downsides. You know, it does not. I guess that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty grim.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that the Teamsters have endorsed a Republican, but you know, it's sort of, you know, a lot of Teamsters are folks who are, you know, economically, socially disadvantaged in various ways. That, you know, a lot of Teamsters are folks that the Republicans want to kill.
Yeah,
you know,
I've heard this.
it's kind of I don't know that this is playing well. I believe he now has a challenger for the presidency of the union at this point.
What a
because
dumb dickhead.
Yeah, it's kind of
unquestioning endorsement of whoever that is.
Yeah, it's kind of like you know, maybe we shouldn't talk to the people who want to kill part of our membership.
Yeah, if you are a Teamster, it is now your sacred duty to administer this guy an electoral punishment beating.
Yes. Yeah, you're gonna have to get out the big Teamster clubs. You know, you gotta we need some big guys.
Sticks, yes.
Yeah, we need some big guys for this.
Very big guys.
Very big guys.
Very good guys.
Anyway, so yeah, no more National Labor Relations Board.
Well, I mean that's gonna reduce the situation. I mean, strikes are gonna have to be a lot more militant because they will be able to, you know, just be broken up by the police. I mean, they do that anyway already, but it'll be more. Yeah, you'll be able to just fire people for striking. You'll be able to do all kinds of the old stuff they used to be able to do. And, you know, I think this is, I mean, it's not good. It's going to make life very difficult, but it will, at the very least, I think you will see a lot more labor militancy where it is possible to have it.
It's not only the bosses who can go back to the old ways, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, we'd prefer not to have a Battle of Blair Mountain again, but I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
All thanks to Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and what's his name?
Stupid space cunt.
Howard Schultz.
Yeah, Howard Schultz. Yeah.
Neat.
You know, he was supposed to be Hillary Clinton's labor secretary. I want to say.
My God. I'm just rotating the Kamala cabinet in my mind. I mean, funniest answer, Buttigieg transportation again. Just stay there.
Yeah,
stay in purgatory. Gay purgatory.
You're stuck in transportation forever. Doing absolutely nothing. Making some appearances.
Yeah, so something that we didn't actually mention in the thing is that I've heard rumblings of Admiral William McRaven for vice president, which fucking Christ.
I don't know who that is.
He used to command the SEALs.
I see.
Wrote a really god-awful couple of books, and some of the worst poetry I've ever read. So yeah, he's like a warrior philosopher in his own mind. Be an interesting Secretary of Defense, and by interesting I mean bad.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a very depressing episode of
All
the
of the
goddamn
news.
news.
All right, onto the main topic of tonight's episode.
Yes. I forgot to put in a topic. On to safety third.
I got a 50-50 choice here. There we go.
Shake hands for danger.
Hello, Roz, November, and Liam.
Yeah, I nailed it.
Yeah.
Good job.
We all know the safety rules are written in blood. Today, I'd like to tell you about a few of my favorite rules from my time working around steam locomotives.
Beautiful machines.
Yes. It's not this one. This is from the Walt Disney World Railroad. I think I have an idea of what railroad this guy was working for, but I don't want to say. When I started my career as an impressionable young brakeman, the rule book included two contrasting rules likely written a century apart. Rule 227. Dynamite that has leaked must not be used. It must be handled carefully and taken to an open space and burned. All wood showing evidence of dynamite leakage must be carefully removed and burned in the open. The use of dynamite boxes or dynamite packing paper for kindling is prohibited.
I've built myself a beautiful little campfire out of dynamite boxes.
And Rule 968. Employees must exercise great care when scooting across the floors in caster-equipped chairs. Standing on chairs is not allowed.
Enjoy the use of the word scooting there, very whimsical. Actually, when was the caster when was a chair with wheels invented?
When did they invent the office chair? Yeah,
rolling chair invented when?
This is perfectly sniped me here. 1876 patented. So
wow,
shit. I mean, maybe not that far apart after all.
People were fucking around with office chairs in 1876. And dynamite.
Thomas Jefferson
hopefully not at the same time.
Made an early swivel chair in a swivel chair. Never mind.
Yeah, no, we just
While these rules were absolute, others allowed open-ended exceptions, perhaps because no blood was available to rewrite them, or because cooler heads recognized the need to allow problem solving in the field. It took me only a month on the job to experience such an open-ended rule. Trains usually ran close to the locomotive's tonnage limit on the long climbing run, but today we were especially heavy. With the addition of the fanciest and heaviest parlor car, so the executive bigwigs could entertain some dignitaries. It had rained the night before, and on this cool morning, the rails were slick.
Oh, I am already concerned.
In conditions like these, locomotive engineers use a pneumatic system to spray sand onto the rails ahead of the wheels. This increases the friction of the steel-on-steel wheel-rail interface to avoid the locomotive slipping. Wheel slip is very bad.
Yeah, dig a hole in the track.
Yeah, it can damage your track, your locomotive, and most importantly, in this case, your forward momentum.
He's trying to go uphill.
Yeah. Steam locomotives make a very distinct sound when slipping, which I will attempt to describe in technical terms. Chugga, 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 chugga. Yeah. Then the engineer shuts off the throttle to regain their footing before carefully reapplying power. And that's exactly what I heard as we struggled up the hill. Eventually the grade lessened and the slipping stopped, but there was still one nasty grade ahead. The engineer stopped the train on level track, and the conductor and I walked up to the engine. From his perch high above us in the cab, the engineer asked if I'd bring him a stack of empty soda cups from the Coke machine in the cafe car. I dutifully went on my fetch quest, wondering what James the Red Engine bootlace fix he was about to perform. When I returned, he and the conductor were looking grim. I cheerfully offered the cups to the engineer, who refused to take them. "Those are for you," he said.
Oh boy.
"We have sand, but it's not spraying properly. You're going to ride in the cab with us, and when we get to the next hill, you're going to climb out onto the front of the engine and use those cups to pour sand onto the rails."
Fuck that.
Like the helpful and agreeable rookie I was, I agreed, but later I looked up the rule. Number 145. Except when necessary in the performance of duty, employees must not ride on catwalks, ladders, steps, or tops of moving locomotives. Now, necessary in the performance of duty is the exception for when railroading gets weird.
Subject to the requirements of the service.
I donned my gloves and climbed into the cab, taking care not to dirty my uniform. A traditional trainman's cap, crisp button-down shirt, vest, and clip-on for safety tie. The fireman handed me a packet of earplugs, and away we went. Now, steam locomotives are loud machines that make a cacophony of noise. The stack is barking, the fire is roaring, the fire doors are clanking open and shut as the fireman shovels, the air compressor is panting, the injector is gargling, the dynamo is whining. That's the most irritating sound. And everything is rattling. Lost in the kaleidoscope of sound, I barely noticed where we were until the engineer waved me over to his seat. Over the din, he shouted in my ear, "It's time. Be fucking careful." I squeezed past the fireman and clambered onto the running board above the wheels in this reference locomotive that's here.
Scared.
Yeah, don't like this.
Outside the cab, I could feel the chugga-chugga exhaust from the stack shaking my chest as the locomotive worked near its tonnage limit, building speed toward the hill. My first task was to fill the cups with sand. The sand dome is atop the boiler, usually the first dome behind the smokestack. And here it would be this guy, I believe, in this reference locomotive. But I have a feeling this one's a lot bigger, so it's going to be a much more low-profile dome. With a white knuckle grip on the handrail attached to the boiler, I inched my way forward. I could hear the pounding and clanking of the wheels and rods below my feet and knew that if I fell, I'd be mincemeat before I hit the ground. This may or may not be true, but certainly felt true in the moment.
It counts. We count those.
Yeah. Climbing up the boiler to the sand dome was painful. The smokestack was blasting not just exhausted steam, but also unburned bits of coal from the firebox. Those are cinders, right? These fruity pebbles of death pelted down on me, singeing the exposed skin of my wrists and neck. As quickly as I could, I slid aside the heavy sand dome cover and filled 2 cups with sand. Then I continued forward to the front pilot. So in this case, this one has sort of a fake cow catcher. This whole assembly is the pilot. This one probably has like 2 boards down here for standing on the front. This is a Walt Disney World steam locomotive. It's been dressed up to look older than it is. Because these are from the Yucatan. Listen to our Tren Maya episode where I talk about that. Yeah. Now, once I got ahead of the smokestack, my life improved immeasurably. The cinders stopped and even the exhaust got quieter. Instead, I was greeted with the unnerving sight of the empty track curving in front of me before rapidly disappearing under the front coupler and cowcatcher. Oh, so it did have a cowcatcher. Okay, so this is difficult then. I considered doing my best bow of the Titanic Jack we're flying pose, but decided I didn't want that in my obituary. I could already hear the locomotive starting to slip. One hand on a handrail and one holding a sand cup, I knelt on the pilot and did a test pour off the front of the engine. The wind caught the pour and scattered it everywhere except the railhead. This clearly was not going to work. I noticed the pilot deck had holes cast into it through which I could see the ties flashing past. Hoping I wasn't pouring sand into some lubricated machinery, I aimed for the rail and poured sand through one of them into those holes, and it missed the rail but stayed in a single stream. I adjusted my aim and tried again, finally hitting the rail. For the next hour, I poured a slow, steady trickle of sand onto the rail. Actually, it was probably about 5 minutes, but I was so completely focused that I jumped when the fireman appeared, tapped me on the shoulder, and told me,
Just fall
"That's
off the
good."
thing.
Yeah. And gestured for me to follow him back along the running board into the cab. We arrived safely at our destination. If the big wigs in the parlor car were aware of the day's events, I never heard a word about it.
Of
Years-
such things are railroads made.
Years later, I qualified as a conductor and then a dispatcher and continued to encounter weird railroading problems, which, now that I was responsible for solving them, furthered my appreciation of rules with escape clauses. As far as absolute rules go, though, I never did have problems with dynamite or caster-equipped chairs.
This one has given me deja vu. I think we may even have done it before.
Nah, this came in very recently.
Huh. Well, thank you for sending it in. If you wanna send in a safety third, the email is like wtyppod@gmail.com, right?
Yes, wtyppod@gmail.com. Safety thirds, we like to keep them about a page length.
Yeah, you assholes.
Send in some pictures if you want to. And if you want to remain anonymous, obviously you can. We're not going to get you fired.
Yeah.
Unless your boss listens to this podcast
and identifies you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. This is a good safety
third. That's not our
though.
fault, though. This is a good one, though. Yeah.
Thank you for your railroad service.
Thank you for your railroad service. Well, that was safety third.
Shake hands with danger.
Our next episode will be on Chernobyl. Does anyone have any commercials before we go?
Yes, I do. I should have put this up front. God only knows when this is coming out, but we continue to have tickets for the Kill James Bond live shows in London in August 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's 2 weeks from the day we're recording it. Go to killjamesbond.com/live. You can come and see us. It'll be a good time.
It's about Johnny English, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Kill Johnny English.
Kill Johnny
that's
English.
Right. Much to say about it. I know Dev saw the second one recently, and I just got a message in the group chat that's like, "Wow, this is racist." So,
Oh, good.
I think I
Yeah.
saw the first one once.
I think I've seen the first one or maybe first two. So,
Movie
All
one.
right.
Oof.
End recording.
All right. That was
Bye,
a
everybody.
podcast. Good night, everyone.
bye.